Welcome to Relationship Talk, the podcast where we have real conversations about love, well-being, dating, and relationships. In today's episode, I had an invigorating conversation about why it's good to have a rebellious partner with Maria Angelova, who is a wellness innovator and the creator of the Angelova Method, a holistic approach that blends movement and mindset to empower individuals to live authentically and with purpose. With over 30 years of experience in fitness and 17 years in corporate leadership, Maria has a unique understanding of the challenges professionals face when trying to balance their demanding careers with a commitment to personal health and well-being. You can find out more about Maria's aligning work in the show notes. During this conversation, Maria shares the twists on what having a rebellious partner looks like and why it benefits a relationship. She explains for those feeling a little let down or emotionally bruised by their experiences with others, how they can start rebuilding that connection with themselves in a way that feels empowering. We also explore the symptoms through which the body communicates when you feel off balance in a relationship or are in an unhealthy dynamic. And I think it's fair to say that boundaries and standing in our truth can be so powerful, yet they're often the hardest things to hold when we've been disappointed or hurt. Maria gives guidance on how you can strengthen those boundaries in a way that feels both compassionate and firm, and so much more. You are about to get the whole RLT, aka Relationship Talk, so you're going to want to watch the entire episode. I hope that you'll find this conversation as grounding as I did. And remember to subscribe, hit that like button and that notification bell. I'm Teresha Young, your international wellness and relationship coach. Enjoy, take notes, and get ready to apply all key messages you take away today. Hello, Maria. Welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Teresha. I am so excited to be here with you today. I know this is going to be an absolutely fabulous conversation.
I know, so I am so excited for this conversation because we're going to be talking all things rebellion.
Yes, who's
Yes,
ready?
let's be rebels.
Yes.
Absolutely love that. So, for people who aren't familiar with your work, I would love for you to share with you a bit about your journey and what led you to becoming a mind body expert.
So I will give you the real quick story. I grew up in Eastern Europe, as you can probably tell my accent, not an American. I grew up in a family of academics. There was a lot of focus on study well, do well. I did. And then I entered the corporate world. I climbed the corporate ladder. And then 2016, about 9 years ago, I had that inner voice that said, you should quit and you should do what you love, which was quite unconventional because my love affair has always been with movement since I was a kid. But, academics, sports, they don't really go hand in hand. So 2016, I cold turkey, resigned my job, and I started my entrepreneurship as a classical Pilates studio. And what happened, Teresha, is it was like a start with a nosedive. I had done really well in academics. I had done really well in corporate. So I got out confident thinking, I got this. I know how to do this. And that was not so much the case. I was absolutely petrified of sales. I was afraid to being myself. And I was worried about what people would think, which was already rough because people had thought I had lost my mind. Like, who does this? People thought this was a midlife crisis. And that's how I got myself into mindset coaching. And from there, through my own journey and also working with clients, as I started working with movement, I would see that people's patterns change. And I would ask them, what did you do today? And people mostly dismiss it. They're like, nothing, saying nothing, I'm fine. But then when I ask them questions, yes, it could be something physical. They sat too long, they traveled in an airplane. But very interestingly, they had a fight with their spouse. They had an extra drink the night before. So I started seeing how lifestyle patterns affect our movement. And then I also started observing how what's happening in here in our head is affecting how our body moves. So I got into the work of like Louise Hay, Christine Bierland, who talk about how each disease state has an emotional component to it. And I really started tuning in how our body is an expression of us physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So combining the movement work, which is very much about alignment, mind-body connection, self-awareness, with the mindset work, which that's the exact same foundation, alignment with who you are, ditching the limiting beliefs and rewriting the stories which no longer serve you, to returning to who you really are. And that's the magic of the Angelova Method. It's being in alignment physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and being energetically coherent, mind and body, so that you can thrive, have fun, enjoy, be playful. I was just talking to somebody and I said, we have accepted feeling like crap as we age, and it spills over into our relationships. Like we just accept relationships, we settle for relationships.
Yeah.
No, life is to be lived and we're supposed to have fun and feel great and be energetic. And that's what it is all about, right?
Yes, absolutely. Oh, I just love the energy behind your share there. I love again that it was your lived experience, taking a very courageous and brave move to move from what you could be called your comfort zone into something
Yeah.
that totally stretched you. But through that, you were able to build that connection and also find your new way of being and doing things. So you have mentioned the Angelova method. And it's all about clarity, it's all about intentionality, it's all about being yourself. And you
Yeah.
say that being true to yourself is essential for attracting the relationships you desire. So
100%.
100%. And that's exactly what I would say, just in a different way. I would say it's all about the relationship that you have with yourself because it sets the tone for the
That's
relationship
there.
with people.
Yes.
So we're on the same hymn sheet, which is fantastic for anybody listening to this, because that sounds like the golden place to be where you're having fun, you're being yourself, you're energetic. For anyone listening to this who is feeling a little let down or emotionally bruised by their experiences with other people, how can they start to rebuild that connection with themselves in a way that feels empowering and feels like, yes, this is me and I'm going to stand in my truth?
Yes. I will tell you, and I'd love to hear if you feel the same. I feel like one of the hardest parts of growth is relationships.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because as humans, no matter who you are, we want to be loved, we want to be
Mm,
accepted, we want to be appreciated,
yes,
right? And when that gets shaken up, it's a very scary place.
it
And
is.
that's where we start doubting our greatness and who we are, right? And I
Yes.
will tell you, if you have been bruised and you have lost a relationship, just remember that relationships can be there for a reason, for a season, or for a lifetime. And if we can shift our perspective and say, you know what, this is not happening to me, that relationship did not get lost because I'm a bad person. That relationship got lost because I am stepping into a bigger, brighter place. And whatever
Mm,
your beliefs are, God, universe, spirit, is creating an opportunity for me and a place for me to attract the right people who are in alignment with who I truly am. And
oh,
it's a
yes.
scary place. I'm not gonna
Yes.
lie. And like I said, personally have experienced that through my evolution. I know my clients, that's one of their biggest thing, what people think, what people say.
Yes.
And the other thing to remember is that when we grow, when we start stepping out of our comfort zone, we start shaking up the comfort zone for others, right?
Oh,
And
all
they're
that
not
mirror
necessarily,
effect. Oh,
yeah. And they're not like, yeah, shake me out of my comfort zone. They're like, no, I want to stay where I am.
yes.
So a lot of the feedback they're giving us really has nothing to do with us. It has to do with where they are on their journey,
Yes.
which we all are on a different path. We're all on a different journey. So
Yes.
as long as you can stay true to who you are, I promise you, like with zero doubt, that the right people, whether it's friendship, whether it's colleagues, whether it's a romantic relationship, will show up in your life. It's just
Mm,
you're going through that transitioning process.
that's wonderful. I've got two things going on in my mind at the moment, Maria. So, firstly, I have an audience question because when I spoke to my community and said that I'll be speaking to you, there was an influx of questions that came through. And what you were talking there about growth, I think this is aligned quite well with what you said. So, this one person said that they keep attracting partners who challenge them or push their buttons. And they've
Mhm.
asked, how do I know if this is growth happening
What?
or if I'm just in another unhealthy dynamic?
What a great question. That is a super question.
Yeah.
You know how you know? Your body will tell you.
Ah,
If that relationship drains you, like, okay, I would love to hear your opinion, but I think there will always be something, right? I love my dear husband. We've been partners for 26 years now. he does push my buttons.
Mm.
And it's okay because we have learned to communicate, we have learned to talk through it. I mean, sometimes he pushes my buttons stronger than other times,
Yes.
but a big part of it has become my self-regulation. Because
Okay.
in the past, we would have a spat about, the socks on the floor, and that would take me like 2 days of being upset. And now I literally ask myself, is this worth my energy? And okay, the socks on the floor, what are the great things that he offers to me as a spouse,
Mm.
as a partner? And
Yeah.
are the socks okay? Now that's a different evaluation for every single one of us.
Mhm.
But if you're in a relationship when, I'll tell you, that's a big one for women. You're
Yes.
getting lost of who you are. If you feel drained with your constant interactions with that person, that is your feedback of if you're around that person and there is that your body is like shrinking and tightening, that is feedback that's perhaps a relationship that's time to go. Now, very important piece of a relationship is us, right? And you started the conversation, Teresha, when you said that the number one relationship we have is ourselves. When we have dysfunction in ourselves, that spills into the relationships that we have.
Yes.
And many of us, so let's go a little bit back.
Mm.
We experience emotions. Those emotions create chemical reactions in our body, and our body literally creates the chemical that it is used to creating.
Mm.
So if we experience love through dysfunction, we step into a relationship. I'm sure you've had clients like that. They step into a relationship that's wonderful and great, and they start sabotaging the
Oh yeah.
relationship,
Hmm.
right? That is because there is something that hasn't been cleared on our side. And it's time to rewrite the story to where we experience and feel love differently.
Okay.
So, a great question, it's easy to blame the other person.
Yes.
But I will tell you, my personal relationship with my husband has tremendously grown because I'll be very transparent. When I quit, our house was like a war zone
Mm.
because
Yeah.
he was not supportive of my change. I was
Yes.
the stable income. He was the entrepreneur. He felt betrayed. He called me irresponsible, which, if you grow up thinking your worth is tied in being responsible, that's a very scary place to be.
Hmm.
And it was easy to say my business is not growing because I don't have a supportive husband.
Yeah.
And I
Yes.
had to really take the mirror and turn it and say,
Mm.
okay, yes, that's there. But what is it about me that's unable to take this business off the ground? And
Yes.
then as I started growing and changing, my relationship with him started growing and changing.
Mm.
So I want to encourage everybody listening is, take a look at where you are in that relationship
Yeah.
and start there. But
Yeah.
your body is giving you the feedback if you're in the right relationship or not.
Okay. I love that explanation there. So for people listening to this saying, okay, the body is giving me feedback, what are some of the symptoms that the body would be displaying for people to go, oh, that's me. Yep, yeah, I've got that.
Yeah. So look at me right now, right? Let's say you say something that like I find threatening, right? And I mean threatening, like I don't like it, you're pushing a button. Can you
Yes.
see what I'm doing?
Hmm. Yeah.
Can you see what I'm doing?
Yes.
Lots
For
of
those,
tension.
yeah, so for
Mhm.
those listening on audio, what Maria is doing is that she's just literally curling in, just making herself small, hunched shoulders, and just really, really squinched up.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mm.
And I'm exaggerating, but you get the idea. You see
Yeah.
these when I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
The other thing is you might have digestive upsets. You might not be able to sleep. You might feel that every time you're around that person, you don't feel safe. And when I say safe, I don't mean like physically safe,
Yeah.
meaning like somebody's going to physically hurt you.
Yes.
Safe as you don't feel comfortable being who you are around that person.
Yes. Yes. For so many people, they may have been in this pattern though of not being who they are, losing themselves in relationship. How does somebody get to return, as you said, return to yourself? What kind of work, what kind of mastery does that involve? And I'm imagining that's part of your Angelova method.
100%. It's really doing the self work. I mean, the stuff that I do is movement, intentional movement, and aligned mindset. it's again becoming aware. Awareness is step number one. You have to become aware of where are the stories which no longer serve you. Where are your limiting beliefs that no longer serve you? So if you think about, I call our brain the database, right? So we perceive the world, we see something, we hear something, it goes into our brain. It within less than seconds, it goes through the brain, it looks to something that's familiar to what just happened, and it produces a thought. That thought produces an emotion, and that emotion then says, do it or don't do it. Well, that action creates the results that we experience in life. So if the results that we're experiencing in life, let's say a relationship, are not what we like them to be, if you look at the starting point, that's your belief system. So becoming aware of what are the stories that you're holding on to that are producing the same results. And the self-work, self-care, I'm a huge proponent of journaling, meditation. I don't even call it exercise, Teresha, because exercise has become go to the gym and abuse your body. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about intentional, mindful movement grounded in breath, grounded in self-awareness that feels like therapy. You walk out. I mean, my clients, they compare my movement to like ecstasy and orgasm. They're like,
Oh,
oh my gosh, this feels so good. Now, if
oh,
you're experiencing an orgasm when you work out, would you not want to work out?
whoa, absolutely.
So really the journey starts with you. Coaching, I am a huge proponent of coaching. I myself have coaches all the time, different modalities, because I believe in it. And can you figure it out yourself? Yes, you can. Is it going to take you much longer? Yes, it will. So if you can start with anything that helps you slow down your mind, I think that's a great point. I think my transition from corporate into entrepreneurship was really thanks to me slowing my mind and really being able to tune into my intuition. And
Yes,
when it gets to relationship, your intuition is usually telling you what's the right thing to do for you. And we
yes.
can kind of justify it with like, well, no, I don't want to make somebody upset. And we
Mhm.
go out of alignment ourselves to make somebody else happy, which long term does not serve us.
It doesn't. So that's a really great point that you're making there, because when you are becoming out of alignment in order to people please or to please somebody else, we're kind of moving on to the concept of boundaries here. And
Yes.
when we talk about boundaries and standing in our truth, and I think this is something that we spoke about just a bit earlier on, they can be so powerful, yet
Yes.
they are some of the hardest things, Maria, for us to hold when we've been
Yes.
disappointed or hurt in the past. So,
Yes.
what helps people to strengthen those boundaries in a way that feels both compassionate and firm?
Practice.
Oh, there we go. Practice. Yes.
Practice makes better. And yes, boundaries are uncomfortable for many people. I did a speaking engagement years back, and one of the people who was in the audience is now a dear friend. And she says, I learned the biggest lesson from you. She says, no is a complete sentence. And she's like, when I think to say no, I think about you. Because what happens is I want to tell you, Maria, would you like to go to dinner? And I'm like, not really. But then I'm like, well, I don't want to disappoint her, and she's a friend, and
Yes.
she's got this going on.
Yes.
So then I say yes. And the minute I say it, I go, I
Ah,
didn't
yeah.
really want to say that, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So, okay, I did something for you at whose energy? At
Yes.
my expense.
Mm.
So now, what is that going to cost? Long term, if I keep doing this, let's say you're like a close friend that we hang out all the time, and I keep saying yes when I want to say no, what is that going to do to our relationship? It's going to start creating perhaps resentment towards you, like, why does she keep asking me to go to this?
Mhm.
So, long term, saying yes to something that feels like no is really not serving us.
Yes. Yes. And that's a really, saying this, no, whatever it may, not yet. Now, sometimes it doesn't even have to
Okay.
be no,
Yeah.
sometimes it's just a not yet. So it gives you that
Yeah.
breathing space. Because when I spoke to my audience and the community about this, one person said, when setting boundaries, I feel guilty. I
Yes.
feel like I'm being unkind. How
Yes.
can I start to see boundaries as an act of love rather than rejecting somebody?
Yes. Okay. This is so perfect. Just a couple of weeks, I had that, exact same conversation with the client. She is learning to say no, and she's saying exactly the same thing, and I feel guilty.
Yes.
I said, okay, what if you, so guilty means the reasoning behind it is I'm doing something wrong.
Yes.
How can you convert the story behind guilt, and instead of saying I'm doing something wrong to my friend, how you can start celebrating I am doing something right for myself?
Woo!
Can you feel how the energy is
Woo!
different? It's the same action, but
Yes.
different energy, different story. So
Yes.
every time, I call something that I call it interrupt and reroute. So the minute you hear your brain going, auto playing that same story, I said no, and now I feel like a bad friend or whatever is going on, become aware, literally say, uh-oh, we're not going there. No, I feel so great because I'm stepping into honoring who I am, what feels in alignment with me, and I'm growing as a human being, and I'm serving everybody, including my friends, by being who I am. That's
Yes.
totally different energy.
Oh, it is. And it's bringing that back to that whole self-love, self-care
Yes,
piece as well, because in your work, you emphasize self-care as a foundation for
100%.
sustainable growth. So for people, I mean, that's a great example, boundaries, an act of self-care. What
Yes.
else does self-care look like? Because of course, if we are going to start asserting and honoring ourselves and our boundaries, we're going to have to communicate that in a way so that the other person receiving that feedback is going to be like, oh, okay, obviously we cannot control how they're going to respond. We cannot, that's not our gift. However, what can people do, firstly, to help them with the communication and also to help them with self-care?
So I think to what I said before is you start changing. People will feel that change. They'll be like, she always says yes. Why is she now saying no? Right? So that becomes uncomfortable for them because now they're like, now they make it about themselves, which is really has nothing to do with them. It has to do with perhaps you're working on a big project, or perhaps you're choosing to be more intentional with your self-care. So you need that time for yourself. We can communicate that to people. One thing I would caution is, especially if you're a people pleaser, you
Mm.
don't need to spend an hour of explanation of why you can't do something, right?
The
And with
script.
with a lot of people pleasers, what's happened is
Yes.
you want to go to dinner? No. Oh, that just feels so scary that I just say no. Let me tell you why. Because and they keep talking, and then you're like, yes, but I'm going through a really tough time, and they go, okay, I'll go. So now
Yes.
you didn't hold your boundary, right?
Yes.
So you can be transparent with people, and whatever language works for you, and say, you know what? I'm working on myself. I
Mhm.
am being really intentional about my self-care. I love you, respect you. I do want to spend time with you. My schedule is busy. I have to prioritize things, right? So now you're reassuring the other person that this is not about them. Very important. Be mindful that you're not in charge of somebody else's feelings, right? If
Yes.
they've got stuff going on, they have to figure it out. Boundaries does not mean we have to be mean, we have to be unlovable, right? We can set up boundaries with love and kindness.
Yes, absolutely.
And the other thing that I find very effective is having a conversation. And instead of telling somebody how to feel, perhaps ask them questions. You're going through a tough time. You know what? I'm going through a tough time too, or I'm going through this growth. Can you understand how you need some downtime and time for yourself as you're going through this?
Yes.
So now you're making it relatable to them,
Mm.
right?
Yes.
It doesn't have to be like, no, I don't want to go to dinner.
Yes.
Now, would some people still be upset? Okay. You will
Mm.
be guided to letting go of some relationships.
Yes. It can be tough. It can be tough, but the
Yeah.
way in which you shared that I thought was so compassionate because you lent into a space of vulnerability when saying, I'm working on myself, and I'm doing my best to set priorities and to take care of myself. If
Mhm.
people have an element of empathy around that, hopefully that will land really well with what you're
Yes.
sharing there. Again, like what you said, we cannot dictate how another person is going to respond to that information. But for you, it's honoring your boundaries and it's honoring the way that you show up for yourself and taking care of yourself. So, what are some of the other practices, I suppose, self-care practices that people can put into place in order to embody and really align themselves with who they are?
I would tell you, I think one of the easiest ones to embrace is I start and end my day with gratitude.
Oh,
And the first thing when the alarm goes on, it has become such a conditioning that I don't even have to think about do your gratitude. It's my brain just starts going, this morning I am grateful for. The important part is when you do gratitude is to feel the gratitude,
mm.
the intention behind the gratitude, because we have become a society of check marks, right?
Yeah,
Check,
oh,
check, check.
yes.
I did my gratitude, done. I did this, check. No, like connect to the high vibrational energy of gratitude. Like,
Yes.
I am so grateful to be here with you and your listeners today, talking about something I'm so excited for. And I literally, like, my heart is about to explode right now because I'm really, truthfully, genuinely connecting to that statement,
Yes.
right? That
Mm.
is such a powerful practice. It allows you to shift your brain from low vibrations to high vibrations. It allows you to start your date with high vibrations, end the day with high vibrations. Reflection. What do most people start their day with? The
Mm.
alarm goes. What's the first thing that they grab?
Grab the phone. Look at the
Oh,
news. Look at social media.
yes. And right there, you allow the external world
Yes.
to tap into that precious time. The time when we wake up and the time when we go to bed are the two times where we're closest to our subconscious. And
Mm.
if the first thing that I do is take my phone and look at something that makes me upset, now that is the foundation for the rest of your day.
Yes.
That
Yes.
is, and I think people underestimate the power that they have with that first choice, first thing in the morning. Takes literally seconds.
Yes. Yes.
And then the second thing I go in intention. My
Mm.
intention for the day is. So, for
Yes.
example, once again, I connect to that. I like to close my eyes, which is for those of you looking, that's what I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But my intention for showing up to this show is to convey a message that inspires, motivates, help people step into their authenticity, step into freedom, and create abundant, beautiful, empowering, impactful relationships.
Yes.
Now,
Oh,
when you show up with everything in your life with intention versus just rushing around on the hamster wheel and going here, going there, and not being present anywhere, that is a very different experience.
yes. Maria, that's a really powerful share because I'm just leaning into what you're saying there. And the way
Mhm.
that we set up our day is a game changer for how that day and being very intentional about it. It kind of reminded me when you were doing that share about the husband and the socks and all those kind of things, but then being very grateful for everything else that he does,
Yes.
other than maybe leaving the socks in the places where they shouldn't be. But I absolutely love that because if we are struggling with that practice, if we are struggling to give ourselves that 5, 10 minutes, it's like we need to lean into what the secondary gain is from
Yeah.
not doing it. Because there will
Yeah.
be something, for example, that is drawing us into going onto our phone, for example, going on to looking at the news. What is it that is drawing you to do that and set that as a priority rather than actually prioritizing yourself? So it's understanding a bit more about what is it that you're getting
Yeah.
from those actual different aspects.
Yeah, it is a hit. It's an
Mm,
instantaneous hit, right?
yeah.
And I mean, just think how you see people, how they just grab their phone, like
Yes,
they finish and they grab their phone and they go, I don't know, social media, the news, whatever it is that they do. We create habits,
we
and
do.
those habits are giving us some kind of satisfaction. Now,
Yes.
is the satisfaction always serving us? That's the big question,
Hmm.
right? So it's also evaluating our habits. And, this is a big exercise that I do with my clients. Look at your calendar. Your calendar is a reflection of your priorities. And
Yes.
that sometimes it's like, ooh, right?
Yeah.
So if somebody says, my relationship with my spouse is a priority, okay, how many dates or quality times do you have on your calendar this week?
Yeah.
I did the speaking engagement last year and I went to the bathroom and one of the ladies she goes, oh my gosh, I was so inspired. I texted my husband and she's like, we set up 3 dates for the next couple of weeks. I was
Oh,
like, for you, right?
yes.
Yes. Because we live a very automatic life
Mm,
and everything has become about quick. quick satisfaction, quick hit, right? I can go to the internet, I can scroll to TikToks, and I don't really have to reflect on my feelings, or because sometimes that reflection is going to release stuff that may not feel so good shortly, right? But once you clear it, it creates space for energy, high vibrational energy. So there is literally, to what I talked about, there is literally, we start creating chemical dependency in our body that unless we're intentional to interrupt it, it just drives us on autopilot. And that's where the intentionality of how you go through the day, like I would invite anybody listening today, just for the day, I want you to evaluate how intentional you step into every action that you take today. And just observe. Don't judge, because that's something else we're big at. Right now, we're going to start criticizing how poorly we're doing. No, 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 no. This is a starting point. We don't know what we know, what we don't know. So let's start with that self-discovery process.
Oh, gosh.
Start paying attention of like, okay, so after I scroll for 20 minutes, do I feel elevated? Do I feel better? Or do I feel like here is the next same day, Groundhog Day, and I didn't do anything that I told myself I'm going to do, and I'm still where I am today, and time just keeps passing? Or did you go for a great walk? Now you're like, yeah, I kept my word to myself. Oh, my body feels so good because I've moved. Oh, I got to enjoy the outdoors and some sunshine. Like different energy. Start tapping into things which nurture you. We have way too much that drains our battery, right? What are the things that recharge your battery? The foundations of wellness, right? Sleep, quality food, hydration, great relationships. That's a huge one, right? Doing stuff that we love doing, community, impact, gratitude, love. Like that's a different way of living.
Oh gosh, exactly. And even that, I'm just feeling so energized when you're talking about that because it's so empowering.
Yeah.
And I love what you shared before about our habits and our limiting beliefs, and in terms of how our thoughts affect our emotions and that impacts on the actions that we take and the results. And I refer to the same as the TEAR acronym, TEAR, TEAR, thoughts, emotions, actions, results. So
Okay.
for those people who are listening to this, then if their first automatic action is maybe to pick up the phone, they could backward chain it, I would call it. So
Exactly.
so you've done the action, and so what was the emotion before that? And what was the thought before that? Then you start to unpack it. Would you say the
Yeah, that's
same?
exactly right. And that's when the self-observation and
Yes.
self-work starts. Like, start watching where you're doing things on autopilot. For example, saying yes when you should say no. Oh my gosh, here we go. I did it again. So when we act and when we get triggered and there is an emotion, there is a need deficiency that we're experiencing. So, for example, you ask me to dinner and I want to say no, but I say yes. What is the need that I experience? Is it that I want validation from you? Is it that I am afraid that if I say no, I won't feel love from you? What is my deficiency that's getting me to act in a way that's not serving me? And then where did the story around that need get written? So perhaps when you were a kid, we learned those things. Our subconscious is created by the time we're 6 and 7 years old, by the way we grow up, the community, the religion, the teachers that are around us. So where in your past were you taught that in order to be perhaps loved, you have to say yes? And is that story still true? Because I guarantee you it's not.
Yeah.
However, if I say no, and I feel like you're getting upset with me, now that's scarily reinforcing the old story that I have, right? It's like, oh, she doesn't like me anymore. So it's uncomfortable, which is why, I think it's the stats are about 92% of people start doing mindset work and quit
Because
because it
what
is
goes
so
up?
uncomfortable. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And they go one step and which is why I'm a huge proponent of coaching, because you have somebody who is supporting you, who is an accountability partner, who is there to nurture you, right?
Yes.
You start becoming part of different communities of people who think like, who are like-minded.
Yes.
And that's what reinforces you. It's okay to step into who you are. It's okay to say no. But
Mm,
yes, facing those old stories and rewriting them requires intention. I can't do it for you. Going back to when you ask how do setting up boundaries become easier? By
yes.
practicing setting up boundaries.
Yeah.
How does it become easier to start your day with gratitude instead of grabbing the phone? By realizing, oh my gosh, every day when I start my day, I pick up the phone. Okay,
Yes.
you know what? Today is a new day, and now I have a choice. Do I grab that phone or do I spend 30 seconds, you guys? 30 seconds. Can you gift yourself 30 seconds to nurture your energy, your mind, your body, and spirit? Yes, you
Yes.
can.
You can, absolutely. And it's really tapping into what the outcome is going to be from that.
Yes,
And of course, it's probably the opposite, complete opposite of how you're feeling in the first place, which could be emotionally drained, even could be physically drained, whatever that is. And for those people who are looking at, creating new habits as well, I'm a huge proponent for habit stacking. So, for example, if
yes,
something is
mhm,
new to you, when you're brushing your teeth, for example, in the morning, you can do gratitude practice at the same time. So
yes,
it's not doing an extra piece of, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes work. When you're brushing your teeth, perhaps you can say your gratitude at the same time. Perhaps you can listen to a podcast or some self-development, music, whatever will raise your vibration, basically,
yes.
and give you more energy. So that's something that I'm a huge advocate for as well.
I love the examples that you're saying. I totally love stacking of habits as well. I will share with you a very quick real example. So when
Yes.
I stepped into this and when I was building my own habits, I was not meditating and shutting down my head was like the biggest challenge ever. I would just try to breathe and the mumbo jumbo started
Yes.
going. So I set up an intention that I would do meditation for 1 minute
Okay.
and I'll sit facing the window. This is a true story. And I'll put my timer for 1 minute. And for that 1 minute, I'll be like, just stay present right here and right now. And what would happen is I'll be present, I'll be not present, I'll pull myself back. I'll be present, I'll be not present, I pull myself back. And do you know what I started experiencing? I started observing that the days when I'll do this 1 minute of not perfect meditation,
Mm,
my day went completely different than on the days when I did not do it. So now
wonderful.
I have evidence to like, look at that. There's got to be something to it, right?
Yes. Yes.
Because I can feel it. So
Mm,
that now I'm like, oh, maybe there's something to it. Now I'm going to do 2 minutes,
yes.
and this is very important for habits because
Mm,
people go from no habits to I'm gonna exercise for an hour and a half. If you exercise you don't have that muscle, right, that habit, that foundation, start with 5 minutes of exercise every single day, and when that becomes a habit, make it 10, make it 15. Because what happens is when I say I'm going to exercise for an hour and a half and then you're like, oh, I don't have time, I had a long day, right? We start convincing ourselves why we should not do it. We don't do it, and we condition ourselves that it's okay to fail our promise to ourselves.
yes.
Versus if you go, oh my gosh, I just did my 1 minute of meditation. I'm so proud of myself, Maria. Good job. You did what you said you're going to do for you. And you celebrate and you tap into that high emotion, right? So, once again, it's the high emotion that's driving you. Because I'll tell you, I don't believe in motivation.
Yeah.
I believe in changing your mindset and shifting your energy. That's what's going to carry you long term. That's why everything about do is the work I do is going to change your life. It's
Yes.
not going to be the 30-day detox, the 30-day boot camp. It's not that. It's sustainable changes that you carry for the rest of your life. And how you feel and the high vibrations and the high emotions are a huge part of the experience.
Oh, and that is absolutely incredible. Is the long-term effects that you get from the work that you do and intentionality behind it. And I absolutely love what you said there, Maria, when you said celebrate yourself, because we don't often acknowledge when we have done something and actually sit there to say, go me. Because it's that positive reinforcement, just like we would give to a child or to someone that we love or someone we're close to, go you, celebrating you. How often do we actually sit back and celebrate ourselves too for that? We need that positive reinforcement ourselves too.
And I'll tell you something else that you bring to mind, Teresha, is we seek that celebration outside of us. That
Mm,
becomes a very dangerous place.
yes.
Especially, I will tell you, especially if you're successful, because you're used to hearing, oh, you're doing so great. Oh, you're so great. Oh, you did a fantastic job. Then you start stepping into your authenticity, and that gets silence.
Yes.
That is a very scary place. So we have to learn, you know, I'll tell a client, I'm very proud of you. And then I'll tell them, but that doesn't matter.
Mm,
What matters is that you are proud of yourself. Because we don't want to be conditioned by everybody around us tell us how great we are. We want to believe it with our soul and with our heart that, yes, I deserve that pat on the back for doing my 1 minute meditation. Heck yeah.
yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. That
Yes.
self-validation is powerful.
Yes.
And if we can acknowledge more of that, and I suppose as part of the gratitude practice is being grateful for yourself and the things that you have done as well, it's the intentionality behind it. You also have the notion of being rebellious.
Yes.
And I'm so curious as to what does that mean? Can you share with us?
Rebellious to me means be who you are. And I'll tell you, when I quit my job, my corporate job, people were like, what are you doing? This is crazy. Like people downplayed my idea. People were like, this is never gonna work. You're wasting your time. Like all of this negativity. And I thought, okay, I need a name that like resonates. And I mean, I had pages and pages and pages of company names. And then Rebellious came and I was like, oh, yeah. There is that rebellion, that spark of breaking the norms, breaking the box, and stepping into who you truly are. It's a rebellion to return back to who you are. Because we become like an onion, right? It's the
Yeah.
little ones at the center, and then the parents, the community, the church, the whatever, right? The religion, the schooling, the corporate, the husband, the kids, like all of these things bury us.
Yes.
And how many, especially I would say women, do you know who, the kids grow up, they move on, and then they find themselves with their husband and they don't know who they are. They've completely gotten lost as mom, as wife, as a caregiver, as a daughter, as a sister, as whatever. It's
Yes.
like, who are you? What does your heart desire? Start there and be honest with yourself. Living rebelliously, living authentically in a world that tells you you should be this, and this. It's a great deal. It's a rebellious deal.
Oh gosh, I absolutely love that. And because when you're having that rebellious aspect with yourself, what is the benefit to somebody to have a rebellious partner? What are they going to
Oh.
gain from that? Oh,
I will tell you, this is a real life example with how my relationship with my husband has grown. Because when there was discomfort, don't get me wrong, because he was like, what is happening? He's like, that's not the woman I married. I'm like, right. The woman who you married was kind of lost and following what everybody else expected of her. And
mm,
the woman who you're with now is who she is. And she likes to embrace life. I like to have fun. I like to be playful. I
mm,
like to take risk. I like adventure. I love travel. And you know what? It's like, babe, this is me. Do you
mm.
like it or do you don't? It's scary, right?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Because there is a chance that he might say, no, thank you,
Mm,
right? But do I stay however he wants me to be? Miserable?
yeah.
Suppressing who I am? Because here is the thing: when we are out of alignment with ourselves,
Mm,
that starts causing discomfort in our body. Long-term discomfort into our body starts creating disease.
yes. Okay.
So, having a rebellious partner, one, you're going to have the time of your life. Two, your relationship will be completely different level than a relationship where you're trying to fit in somebody else's expectations and desires for the partner that they want to be. And you know what? I work with people who come to me and they're like, man, I keep attracting the same type of people. Like, what? Why?
Yes.
I'm like, oh, you know why? Because you're sending that energy out. What comes back is what you're sending out. So we gotta reevaluate what is it that you're sending out, and we gotta learn. Like, if you've gone, let's say, through a divorce, people, they're ugly divorces, nasty divorces. They hate the other party. It's like, oh my gosh, how can you shift that and say, thank you? I'm supposed to learn something from that. My clients send gratitude to their exes for the lessons that they're learning because they have that experience of, you know what? I know what I don't want in my next relationship.
Wow. I love that share. So, because you have showed up as a rebellious person, and I believe that you said that your husband has also received some growth from that, that must be that there must be certain aspects of your communication, of your relationship that has been enhanced because of that. Are you
Yes.
happy to share some of those aspects in terms of what your relationship looks like?
Yeah, so I will tell you, my husband and I are very different personalities. He's an engineer and I'm like the free spirit. He's knowledge based and I'm like, he laughs at me. He's like, oh, we're going to talk about the stars again. And I'm like, yes, how exciting is that, right? So we used to raise our voice at each other a lot. We used to like throw insulting words at each other. It just wasn't like high vibrational happy. And I'll tell you, like, I am so much more in love with my husband now than I was when I married him so many years ago. I have learned to appreciate him for who he is. I think a big thing that has happened for both of us, we have learned to give each other space to be who we are, even when he doesn't agree with what I do, or even when I don't agree with what he does or how he does it, right? So to me, a great relationship is one where you can feel safe, again, not physically safe, but just safe to be who you are, safe to take actions that feel aligned with you, being respectful, being loving, like our intimacy. We do this thing, we go to these dates. I'll tell you on the weekends, we go and have a cup of coffee. That's our date. And we both look so much forward to it. So when the weekend comes, it's like, okay, babe, let's go to our coffee date. It's so exciting. We talk to each other. Like I said, intimacy is great. I think to me, a great relationship, especially like a romantic relationship, is one of synergy, right? When the
Yes.
two of you produce more than the sum of the two, when there is freedom, when there is authenticity,
Yes.
um, it's a different quality of relationship than one where you're like, you're wrong, I blame you for this, I blame you for that, raising voices, like it
Yes.
drains your energy.
It
And
does.
and learning what are some of the things you can let go of, right? Just like I have a teenage daughter. What are some of the battles that are you just should just let go?
Yes. Choose your battle, as they say, isn't it?
Yes.
Thank you for that description because I
Yeah.
believe you said, was it 26 years? You said that
Yeah.
26 years.
Yes.
So, in all of these years that you shared with your husband, your now husband, what would you say is your personal definition of love, Maria? What does love mean to you in terms of romance? I know you shared some things there, but you might have a few words.
To me, romance is, I joke with my husband and I tell him he's missing the romantic gene because his key romance is going to watch a football game. I'm like,
Yeah,
babe, like,
yeah.
to me, romance is being able to talk to him. For me, romance is when the alarm goes to get a little cuddle in the morning. For me, romance is holding hands after 26 years. For me, romance is knowing that he's there for me. I mean, if you ask him, he'll probably tell you I push a lot of his buttons, but he loves me for who I am. And, I am a rebellious girl. I am like, I want something, I go for it. And he's like, here we go, Maria. And he tells me, you just don't listen. And
Yeah.
I tell him, I'm like, and that's why you love me. I'm like, your life would be so boring without me. So I think it's embracing that playfulness and fun. I see it. I see how relationships are, they're dull and stiff and there's no connection. And when people are like, oh, I don't want to spend time with my husband, like I would rather him go golfing. No. I listen, yes, I do want him to go spend time with the boys and do the things he enjoys. But I also want, and here's the thing, I don't want a lot of time, but I want little time that's quality time, right?
Quality.
Intentional time.
Yes, quality over quantity when you speak
Yeah,
about that, because it
100%.
can be small, but what you do within that time is so
That's exactly
meaningful.
right. Yeah. So
So
like our coffee date, I'm like, no phones. I don't want the phone. And sometimes you'll be like, let me just respond to that email. And I'm like, oh
oh
no. I'm like, this is our time,
yes.
And And this is the other thing I want to say. It's a process, right? It's not an overnight shift. And I think it's a commitment on both parties to continue growing. Is every day peachy and pink? No. We have our stuff. I think we have a very real relationship, right? Because we're not one of those couples that always thinks the same, likes the same things. Like we're two different people who I do think we want the same things. We both have very strong family values. We're both very loyal. We
Mm.
both love family time. So I think these are the things that are important, that are priorities for us. Some of the things and how I like to grow my business, the craziness that I do, the me talking about the stars, not him, but
Yes.
he just like rolls his eyes and he goes, okay, baby, let's talk about the stars.
I love that because it's creating that safe space, as you said, for you to show up as who you are and for each person to hold that space too. I'm also a huge proponent for having fun, playfulness in a relationship because it's such a connector. As children, we love to play, and sometimes as we get to adults, we just dismiss the whole premise of playing. I think, no, don't lose that. It's such a connector.
It is 100%. And I think it's one of the spices of a long-term relationship, right?
Yeah,
Not losing that spark. And
yeah.
that's why I think a big part of it is giving yourself the freedom to do what you like and doing the things that fulfill you, right? My husband doesn't meditate. I still keep asking him, do you want to meditate together? And he's like, no, thank you. you know
So
and
no meditation under the stars.
right. I'm like, okay, whenever you're ready. And, I can slowly see the changes in him because I do think he's seeing the changes in me. And I do think he's seeing a happier woman, a
Yes.
more fulfilled woman.
Yes. Oh, Maria, this has been such a delicious conversation. I've really, really enjoyed it. It's been so nourishing, and you've given so many techniques and strategies, I suppose, that people can lean into because it will be new information for many people. It will be remembering the information, but we have definitely covered ways to help people to be aligned, to embody who they truly are, and to return to who they are. Yeah, I absolutely love it. We are being rebellious. I really love
We
that.
are being rebellious. High
We,
five.
hey, yes, we are being absolutely rebellious. Maria, I would love, this is one of my parting traditions that I do on the show, is for you to share, well, for my actual guests, to share with the audience one key takeaway that will help them along their journey of love, well-being, and relationships. I would love for you to share one.
Do what makes you happy. When you're happy, your world will fall into place. The right people will show up, the right opportunities will show up. Your life would be completely different. Seek that happiness from the inside out instead of from the outside in. Stay true to who you are. Tap into that heartbeat, like literally tap into that heartbeat. It
Mm.
will never ever lead you astray.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much, Maria. Now, for the audience, please let us know, where are you hanging out? How can they connect with you?
So I'd love for you to guys check out the website, rebelliousstudio.com. I am on Instagram, mind.body.expert. I'm on LinkedIn, Maria Angelova. And here's the other thing. I think we mentioned it. I'm a huge proponent of the tribe, of the community of like-minded people.
Mhm.
So important as we grow and so important as we step into our authenticity. So I'd love to connect with any one of you. So what a great energy and what a wonderful and high vibrational host you are, Teresha. I'm
Thank you
so
so much.
privileged for the opportunity to be here with you. So grateful.
Thank you.
Thank
I'm
you.
so grateful and thank you for your really, really lovely, kind words there. It means so much to me. And the show is about having high energy. It's about raising the vibration, empowering people. We are all living life. Life is life in for many of us. So if we can just come together as a community to be able to connect, I think it's huge. And I really want to thank you for your time today. You've shared so much, and the audience and the listeners are going to be left with so much. So thank you. Beautiful quality information that you shared there. And for everybody, know that I'm going to drop all of Maria's links into the show notes so that you'll be able to access them. And I want to thank you for your time, for your attention, and for your energy. And until the next episode, take great care of yourselves and others too.